First off, Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts.
I was
that
wrong.
was a movie, yeah.
I was wrong.
Time for Seth to
I know.
say he was wrong.
I was wrong. I had little faith beforehand. I even released the reel about me doubting on it the Saturday after the movie came out. Nobody actually cared to comment and say I was wrong, but I was wrong.
I was so tempted to.
Thunderbolts was so good. I almost shed a tear because
I did share tears.
because friendship and the power of love.
Yeah.
I really liked.
Don't take money, don't take fame.
I really liked all of the storylines, all of the characters, especially Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. Yeah.
Gosh, I still don't know. Like, they're rebranding everything as New Avengers.
But she's still on.
But she's still on the poster. I don't even know. It's like she wasn't even a part of the Thunderbolts. She was killed off so quickly.
There's probably a spoiler warning here somewhere.
Oh.
I mean, everyone already kind of knew about Taskmaster.
Well, everyone also knew about New Avengers.
Yeah, so
because they said 3 days after the movie drops, we're rebranding everything.
That was a dumb decision.
Yeah. But the movie itself was good. Zach's seen it twice now.
Yeah, I went to it twice. I cried both times. that last scene really gets me. The one in the lab.
Yeah.
In the shame room of the lab.
The shame room.
That's what they called them.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I think it really kind of brought you back to kind of what Marvel used to be, with just very heartfelt and meaningful storytelling. I mean, was one of the first things I walked away with. Like, this is one of the first meaningful Marvel movies in a long time. Well, besides Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
And that's what we've been comparing it to.
And yeah.
Because it's the same level of heart.
It is. I think aura is a really dumb Gen Z term. But if you ask me to define aura, I'm going to show you the motorcycle scene with Bucky from Thunderbolts. Just off the charts aura right there.
Well, and that's... he's just decided to screw all his congressman roles and just decide to be a superhero. And that's pretty fun.
He had like the same level of aura that he had like as... I don't know, I keep saying it now. As like he did like in Winter Soldier. I mean, even though he was like a mind-controlled assassin there.
Yeah.
I feel like he was almost insecure for a while after Winter Soldier. Like through Civil War and kind of Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was a lot of soul searching for him, which makes sense for his character. But you never really got like those cool Winter Soldier scenes.
Yeah.
But now we got that back with him like driving through the dust with the sunglasses on.
Terminator
and
style.
And that bomb gun thing from Winter Soldier. That was dope. I freaking loved that.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, I think they really did a great job. I mean, as we were saying before we hit recording here, it does a better job at balancing its characters than a movie like Eternals did.
Yep.
Even though these characters were already introduced beforehand, which helped the situation. I mean, it was also dumb on on Eternals' part to introduce all these powerful, complicated characters at once. So that's...
I don't even know if they're coming back in Doomsday. They weren't announced with the cast, and they might just be... I mean, I would see that more of as a...
I mean, they went as far as acknowledging Tiamat in Brave New World. I mean, that was a big plot point there. I get that. But...
And then they also teased Blade. But besides that, I would kind of see it as a Werewolf by Midnight type of movie where it just kind of exists on its own.
Are we even getting Blade at this point?
No, I doubt it.
Anyway, there was... Yeah, I thought... Yeah, all the characters. Great. Florence Pugh and Lewis Pullman, I would say, were like the highlight performances. They both were very, very great. Here's just a random... I definitely think this Thunderbolts could deserve its own episode later down the line.
Yeah.
But just for like a small, I guess, glimpse of what we could be talking about there. One moment from it that I thought was really cool in terms of just an actor acting phenomenally. There's the scene where the Thunderbolts are saving people as Void's attacking, which overall was just a cool scene. But, you know, there's that giant piece of rubble that falls, and first it's just John Walker trying to lift it by himself.
Yep.
His performance right there, without even words, was so great. Seemed like start to tear up as he's trying to hold this thing back. It says so much without words.
Yeah.
From that, it's like I see him saying without him saying. It's like, I want to be more than a hired gun. I want to be more than a deadbeat dad. I want to be a hero who saves lives.
Yeah.
And then, then he learns that, that's not something he can do alone, as everyone else comes to help him with that. So.
Yeah, he had a lot of growth in this movie. And I think that was probably the turning point for him, more than just his relationship with Bob and how he hated on him for a little bit until he was starting to work with people, like, even going up the elevator shaft. And yeah, he was a little snarky at the end saying he's just going to jump, but he was still working with him, and that was kind of chipping away at his facade.
I'm going to do this rant now. Do you know where I'm going with this rant?
You got to tell me what the rant's about.
All right. Hey, don't be saying John Walker never did anything wrong.
I haven't seen that side of the internet, but you sent me some.
I keep seeing this, and it's like, stop that. Whether or not the guy was a terrorist, he killed a surrendering man.
Yep.
Which is a war crime. So, don't be saying John Walker never did anything wrong. He did a few wrong things in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yep.
So, that's my rant there.
Facts. Some criticisms. I've heard that, I actually said that I felt like it was a lot more of an analogy or an allegory than a story, because it was resolved by the power of friendship and everything. Like, we like analogies here and allegory, making stories into, like, what can we learn? But it almost was so in your face. It wasn't bad, but I still think that the working together, like Walker pushing the rubble, and obviously the scene where they're in all the rooms into the final act, it all felt very on the nose, but it didn't ruin the movie. It just felt less Marvel-y, which I guess is good.
Yeah.
And when they were attacking Sentry at first, it was made to show that it was impossible to fight your way out of this.
Yeah.
And then they didn't. They had to be friendly. They had to be a family.
One of my biggest nitpicks, it probably is just a nitpick, but when they're in the vault at the beginning and Ghost tries to escape, and there's a sound barrier, and they're like, it's an independent power source because it's specifically made for Ghost. And then why is it in the room? Why is this power source in the room?
That's pretty big.
It felt like a video game to me.
Yeah.
It's like, we have to find the power source.
Yeah, for sure.
And then destroy it.
I
like that they gave John Walker an on your left moment too there.
A what?
That was an on your left moment.
Oh, yeah.
On your left.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
Something I heard Critical Drinker say on one of his live streams is that it's pretty obvious that Marvel does not believe in Ironheart at this point, because I have not seen any promotional material
When's that
for
supposed to come out?
This fall, I think. And we still have Fantastic Four. But besides Ironheart, after Fantastic Four, it's a drought until Doomsday, which, again, I've ranted on before. But I think it's pretty obvious that, especially without any announcement that she's in Doomsday, I think they're just going to kind of let it come out, sort of like Echo, and then move on.
Man, they should have had a winter release of something.
Maybe that's kind of what Ironheart is. I forget the actual release date, but I don't know. Maybe they were just like, we can't fit anything else in without screwing up the Doomsday timeline, which, again, you sent me the rumor that Spider-Man 4 is not only going to be non-multiversal, which is great, but a prequel to Doomsday.
Yeah.
Sort of like how
Ant-Man
and the Wasp was before Endgame, which makes sense and would probably be best. I don't know. Again, some of this is going to be interesting. We'll do the state of Marvel after Fantastic Four comes out, and then we'll see what we got wrong last year, and we'll get to look ahead to Doomsday, because we'll do... This is what I love about that style, is now we'll do State of Marvel after Doomsday comes out, and we'll have a different opinion and different perspective, so...
And then we can see if Doomsday is a boom or a doom.
No, stop. I thought
5 big booms for Avengers Doomsday. I don't know if I'd call it a critique or not, because I feel like having it would have made the movie a bit stuffy. But seeing more of the shame rooms for the Thunderbolts could have been interesting.
Absolutely. Because
I know the focus was on Yelena and Bob primarily, but still.
yeah, all of them popping into that attic room and saying, yeah, I've seen terrible things. I'm like, I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah.
Even give us a minute per character, especially Bucky, who's had...
I saw someone about like seeing Bucky fight the Winter Soldier would have gone so hard.
Yeah, because Yelena had a past version of herself.
Yeah.
I feel like all of these could have had... Oh, imagine... This would have been a great thing to include and would probably go in my rewrite, is Walker in a dream, in that shame room sequence, being in the position of the guy he killed.
Yeah.
Having that terror and realizing what he had done. And like as the shield's coming down, he thinks of like all his little boy and his wife, and that would have been probably really touching to see him realize what he had done, the depth of what he had done to that man.
I think though too, even though he makes excuses for why he was in the right for that, I think he still carries shame about it. So I think that would have been interesting to explore that further.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And something, again, the Critical Drinkers, maybe a little sexist, but he disapproves of so much focus on Yelena, really trying to sell us Yelena. I see that in Marvel.
Yelena's a good character.
I know, but they're really trying to get us to like her, and he doesn't, which is fine, but yes, you had to focus on one character because that's how a movie should work, and she was the right one.
Yeah.
I just think there maybe was a little too much, especially with the shame rooms. It could have been more diversified to see the others, even though they did a great job. They made us care for them. So
it's the first Marvel movie in a while too that doesn't pull its punches either.
Yeah.
Especially, with Yelena's dream.
Yeah.
With luring another girl out when she was also a girl to get shot was like, that's dark.
The little girl that Red Guardian saves was... First off, I knew that it wasn't going to be hopeless for all of those people who had been voided at that point.
Yeah.
But still, it was jarring to see that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew they wouldn't visually hurt a little girl. But again, what is the... what is the girl going through at 6 through those rooms? She's like, we had last week we had baptisms at our church, and the grade school kids were giving their testimony, and they're like, Jesus helps me when the kids are loud at school. And I'm like, I'm glad that that's the worst thing you have to deal with right now.
She's just like reliving a memory of stealing her friend's crown.
No.